50 so years. My career all began 54 years ago when I came in from being in the service 4 years, and before that I spent 2 years with Amoco in South Louisiana doing exploration and exploitation geology, and made up my mind that even though I had been offered a job with Amoco to come back, I said I'm going to try to be a consultant. So I came in with 2 years of experience, 2 youngsters, one on the way, and I'm going to set up a shop. Tough thing. So it happened I was able to get 6 people to pay me $50 a week in override if I found any oil and gas for them. And luckily I found quite a bit of oil and gas. I had such partners as Bob Smith, Glenn McCarthy, Eddie Skerlock, you name all the old timers. I did a lot of geology for them and engineering for them. And we're quite successful. So this is what happened. What we do, my brother came here, Johnny Mitchell. Many of you may know Johnny. Johnny died a few years ago. Quite a guy, and was well liked by everybody in the industry. So I do the geology and engineering up there in the little office we had in the Esperson building. And he'd go down to the Esperson drugstore and sell the deals. And that's where it was. We didn't worry about SEC or anything like that. We had to figure out where the hell you could get some money, do a well. And we'd have maybe a 16th interest if we're lucky in a well, and if we made a well, we'd go to the bank right quick, try to get a little money. If you didn't make a well, you had a hell of a time. But it was a tough situation. And we built up as time went on from a 60 to a quarter to a half, and finally ended up where we took almost interest ourselves. We had joint ventures, but really we don't do those type of things that most independents that start out do. They do where they sell interest or they get a carried interest. So I think that things went well in the late 50s and the 60s. But then here came this import problem. In 50, and when we started in 46, there was no import problem because the Middle East oil fields had been shut in for the war. And therefore, that production didn't really hit these shores till about the 60s. And that's when we battled imports all over the place. And that's where the APG and IPAA and all those sort of work together because the politics are very serious on oil. So at that time, how did you do the work compared to what you do now? Well, we worked by subsurface. You'd have to get the logs. We'd work with major companies. We'd get farm outs because they were all interested in trying to farm out areas that might help attract drillers to find something on their acreage or nearby. We concentrated on gas. We thought gas was the most valuable. And we've done that all these 50 some odd years. And 90% of our business is gas and gas products after all these years. So I think that we concentrate on natural gas, and I think that we're right in doing that. And we're able to get good farm outs and good projects and drilling, so we drill a lot of them. And we had some interesting things, one of which might be interesting to listen to, that one of my participants, named Pulaski, called me one day and said, my Chicago bookie's got a hot deal up in Chicago. I said, come on, what are you talking about? He said, oh yeah, I want you to look it over. So I said, okay, set him by to talk to me. Well, they came by and talked to me, and I looked at the geology and it looked very interesting. So we took the deal. From 3,000 acre block, we made the discovery, and we analyzed it as a big stratigraphic trap, and we bought 400,000 acres in 3 months. So those are the kind of things you don't know until you look into it and what may happen. A good example of what one of our biggest fields. We've had a number of discoveries all over this country. So I do think that's a good example of what you just cannot overlook sometimes. That's what happens. One thing that's really been very important, we're very active at TIPRO, IPAA, the IPH, the Houston Geological Society and all those, because if you don't work together with those politics, you really have trouble. And we had to worry about that. Now, one thing that really I've noticed over the years, that many of the discoveries that we have made were a combination geological and engineering discoveries. Because we found out in many of our fields that the technology of fracturing and other things on completions consistent was as important as the geological interpretation. I find that that doesn't really work too well. Most geologists don't have that background to understand the engineering phase. And really, even though you work with people in your organization that are engineers and so on, the fact that you don't have that broad knowledge on both sides, I think has been a very detrimental thing. Hopefully that more and more of that will be improved in the future. Getting back to what's going on, if I want to compare what we had to do 54 years ago to look at the prospect to what you have to do now, there's no question that these small seismic expert companies that we have, that we use, and we have a large group that works with us, with our team, is very important because back in the 50s and 60s, the major companies were 3 to 5 years ahead of us. Now they're only 6 months ahead of us, if you get the latest data. So we're beginning to catch up with what's going on to be able to find oil and gas easier, and we're doing better now, less dry holes. And I think this, that the new technology is so important, and the new technology, small groups, but you don't have to have Slum and Jay's group to do the work. You might get these small independents, and you can really do a good job keeping up with what's going on in the industry. So I think that's possible. Well, we've been involved, we've drilled 1,000 wildcats, and we've drilled over 800 wells. So we've had a lot of experience, and what is it today compared to what it was 54 years ago? Houston's still a hot spot, in my opinion. Even though it was, in my opinion, in 1946 is why I came here. And I think that Houston being the hot spot is very important to keep this organization, other organizations, working hard to keep it the hot spot, because you can operate in Houston all over the world. And I think it's very important that we keep it going. So I think and I still think gas is the most important, although oil is important too, but we find that since the majors neglected gas 50 years ago, maybe we've caught up with them. So anyway, that's the thing that I see, that I think is a great opportunity here. So we want to be part of it.
It's truly a special honor to introduce our next panelist, because it's someone I've known for almost 25 years. When I was a summer hire at Shell,